of doing. And I'll go ahead and got it for the recording. Thank you, Juliet. Julia takes care of all the technology behind the scenes here so that I can just enjoy the paper and ink with you. Tonight we have 2 card projects and a wooden frame or card holder. And the card holder, we're going to decorate today with some penguins and polar bears. Or you could learn the idea and use your own papers, of course, to create it the way you wish. But what's nice is it's got a clip and you can use it for a calendar, for a photo, for a recipe holder, for favorite cards that come in the mail. So we're going to be making the card holder as well as a coordinating card with the penguin and the wilderness friends here, the winter wilderness friends. And then we're also making a card, and we'll actually start with the card project tonight. The card project will be in a white envelope for you, and it has this pretty blue, it's called Blueberry Bushel is the name of this pretty blue color, and it has not been scored yet, so I'm going to teach you how I do the folding for this. But you'll notice that you'll have 3 strips of paper in your envelope, and they piece together like a puzzle. So you'll see how they line up to make sort of a tri-fold design. But there's a few different ways you can put the pieces together. So you'll want to look at my samples before you glue anything down to kind of see how you'd like to arrange them. There also are maybe 4 or 5 different varieties of the scene. So your scene may well be different from the one that I'm sharing as a sample tonight. This card was inspired by my friend Robin, who I received a card in a swap that we did. And so you'll see how she has the papers, the 3 pieces of paper, but they're not in the order that they were printed. So that when it's closed, you have 2 of them that line up together. And then the 3rd piece is placed here on that 2nd panel. And even though it's not an exact matchup, your eyes kind of fool you into moving across the page as though it's one design. And then we have that white panel here.
That is really cool. Oh,
Isn't it
man.
beautiful? I'm glad you like it, Julia. I think
How
it's
did they
great
plan
too.
that? Here, you planned that.
I'm glad you like it. So I have 2 variations to share with you tonight. The first one uses just 2 pieces of the 3, although you could place your 3rd piece here. Again, they just don't line up when you split them across like this. And this uses a punch that you have one of these in your kit, the Happiness Hexagon punch. And it just kind of creates a little, it's not a closure, it's not locked down, but it's kind of an engaging way to open and lift it open. So this one, I actually used that 3rd panel to decorate my envelope rather than putting it here. But you'll take your 3 pieces, lay them out, and kind of fiddle around the way that you like it. The other one, which is more the way, inspired by the way Robin had designed it, it opens and all 3 are together. Now, when it stands up, it kind of makes what do you call those? Like a wardrobe panel for dressing, like in the theater, you'd have that kind of a panel to dress behind, or I think in Victorian times, maybe they had this kind of spot where you would
a folding screen. It's called
a folding screen. Yes, a folding screen. And in this case, I have the white piece over to the right. In Robin's variation, I have it in the 3rd panel. So lots of choices for you, and you'll take your 3 pieces, spread them out, and kind of decide the look that you like. But I love that your eye just moves across, and it's a way of taking that piece of 6x6 paper, and I sliced it into 2-inch strips for you to work with. So I'm going to make mine modeled on this design, but remember, you could make yours like this. So this kind of pulls open. And we have some little embellishments to add. I'm going to show you some fun stamping. But let's start by manipulating the blueberry bushel piece of cardstock. Now, this is half a sheet of cardstock. So it's 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And that's the standard size for a card that fits in this size envelope. What I'm going to do is first fold the paper in half, and there's no score lines tonight. We're just going to fold it edge to edge, just line up the corners and the edges as best you can across here. Take a spoon or your thumb or a bone folder to crease. And then what we're going to do is fold back the front to this fold. So the open edge of our card, we're going to fold back to line up with the folded crease. And again, use your thumbs, use the back of a spoon or a bone folder to make a nice crease here. And that way it will open to make that folding screen kind of effect. Great. So it's a mountain fold, then a valley fold, but what we did first, we just fold it in half and then fold that back. Okay, so now the fun part of deciding how we want our pieces to stretch out. Now, your card, when your person opens the card from the envelope, they're going to see these pieces side by side. And that's why, because I like the paper, the continual effect of the paper, I like to have 1, 2, 3, and then my white piece. Did you have something to show me, Julia? You're good.
Well, I've got a question for you, but I want to see what you say first, and then I'll ask.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. So one variation here, I'm going to put this together like a puzzle. So I have 1, 2, 3. They go across. And then my white piece I could put here. Okay, so that's one option. Another option, similar to the way Robin had it here, was make it so 2 of them match from the cover. Okay, so I'm going to slide this guy over. And I can put this here, and then that's a match now. Okay, so when I open it, I can put my white piece here. And if I like, I can add this in here. Now, your eye still goes across, but because the tree is so high here, it's a little bit jagged. It doesn't work as well as some of the papers do. So I personally like the look of all 3 in a row like this, with the white at the edge. And that way, just this little tease of the design will be on the cover, and then it will open up. So Julia, what was your question? Is that one of those variations work for you?
Yeah, mine is very similar, except let's see. So I'm gonna show. I have 3, and they don't match quite as well as yours do somewhat, but it still works this way, because then when I fold this over,
right, when you close it, they match at the cover, right?
Yeah, exactly. When
Yeah.
I close it, they're
isn't that lovely? That's such a pretty scene. Yep, so you really
up.
can't go wrong. On the one that I had where I matched the front pieces, I left that off. I just left the middle one off. I used it on my envelope. It's a different kind of look than trying to make it a scene all the way across. Yeah, so you could do that, or you could go ahead and put them all in there, and just like this one here that Robin made, you see they don't really match up, but your eyes go across.
Yeah, and there's still a basic line where all the grass
that kind of gives the foundation. Yeah, great. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm using my glue, my Tombow glue, and I'm going to secure the 3 strips of paper, of printed paper. And I'm leaving just a little bit of the blue paper frame around it. And with the Tombow glue, this multi-purpose glue, I just need a little thread of glue. If you have a tape runner or something like Elmer's glue or a glue stick, you can make that work. Just oftentimes we over glue. Sometimes when we were in elementary school, we'd always squeeze that bottle, put a lot of glue on. And so often just a reminder that less is more. You can always add more adhesive, but you really don't want it to be goopy on your project. Now to add a little design to my white paper tonight, I'm going to use a new stamp set called Softly Sophisticated. And this is a product you can earn free during Celebration, which happens in January and February. So it's an exciting time for customers and demonstrators to grow their collection of supplies. And there's a wonderful variety of things this year. Next month, I'll be sure to show off a new set called Jungle Pails. And it has a sloth in it. I love sloth. And it has several other animals. And I'll be using that one in January, just as a little teaser for you. So this blueberry bushel is the ink that matches the cardstock base. And then I'm going to use, this is called a two-step stamp set because we're going to build this flower. I'll show you a finished one. I'm going to stamp the greenery first, the stem and the leaves, and then I'm going to stamp the flowers. But the designer made it so it's just one stamp for all of the green ink and one stamp for all of the pink ink. So it's a cool way to add quite a bit of texture and pattern with quick, easy stamping. So I'll add this green. And you'll see there's kind of little holes where those pink flowers are going to fill in. So I'll open up, this pink is called Melon Mambo. It's a lot of fun. And I have to figure out where those little flowers fit in. And I know that this little bud at the top is what I want at the top, this little bud next to the flower. So when I ink up my stamp and have it ready, I know that small bud is going to be at the top of the stamp. And that's going to line up here in this little green, sort of a pocket where it's holding. Now I'm going to move it a little closer to me so I can get it lined up correctly. If you have it goofed a little bit, it's not a problem, but what's cool about the stamp is it's really designed to fit in nicely. Let's see, I did pretty well there. So the bud is lined up and the flowers sort of fill in that space. I think it's a cool stamp. So that one's called Softly Sophisticated. It also has nice words, hello there, you're in my thoughts, and I really appreciate you. So that's a fun one. I'm going to add it. And you're in my thoughts is a wonderful greeting for a sympathy card or just thinking of you. It could be a get well or even a happy birthday that you're in my thoughts, thinking of you. There. So this card, again, you've got quite a bit of options in the way that you assemble your panels. Just have fun first playing around with them like a puzzle before you commit to adhering them. And then we're going to add a little embellishment. These are little faceted butterflies. Some of you will have purpley ones. There's the pretty peacock and the coral color. And I thought they just were kind of gentle with the watercolor scenery. They are pretty hard and thick. So if you were going to mail this card, one suggestion is to put a piece of scrap paper or a piece of scrap cardstock, or even like a piece from a cereal box, cut a piece of cardboard to put on top of it. And that way, when it's in the envelope, it will not, it won't push through the envelope and make a hole in the envelope. It probably on its own does not require extra postage, but I love to go to my friends at the Baldwinsville post office and have them double check for me. They check for the weight and they also check for the thickness of your project, of your card. And so an extra ounce stamp is usually what's added if there's a concern about thickness. So, and if you decided you didn't want to worry about that, you can leave these off and put them on another project. But I do love the sweet little butterflies. I'm going to put 2 over here. They'll be on the cover. And then the third one will be down here near maybe more near the flowers. So again, what I like about them is they have a little shine to them. So they give some texture with the color, the shine, and the height of them. You're in my thoughts. So just a quick look at this other example, because you do have a hexagon punch in your kit. If you wanted to make your card almost like a gatefold kind of card, it's opening up, and then your stamped greeting or insides would be here like this. Okay, super. So next we're going to move ahead and work on our card and coordinating holder tonight. And these, when you open up your package, you'll see it. There's also this little peg or dowel, I should say, and that fits into the back. You kind of have to twist it, and that's going to make it so your card holder will stand. And again, some great uses for this would be for a calendar or a favorite photo or a recipe. and they're not very expensive, high quality items. So you may have to kind of twist that dowel to fit in there, but hopefully you'll have fun modifying this and making it a special gift or for something in your own home. What we're going to do first is do the, while I'm working, I'm taking my dowel off. I'm just going to set it aside so that my surface is flat. And in the envelope that you have left with the penguin pieces, there are 4 pieces of designer series paper, and they're double-sided. So yours may not be the same as mine. Again, you can pick how you want them to be. My original one here had the stars and the polka dots, some dashes, and the blue and white diagonal stripes. I love that all the colors coordinate. The patterns are intended to be whimsical and contrasting. So you really can't goof it up for sure. And on the back of them are where the animals are. So if you wanted a lot of the friendly animals to show, you could do it this way. I like to have more of the basic patterns showing, because what we'll do is add some of the little friends, and I want them to kind of stand out. See how they'll stand out more with a more solid background than with the friends all behind them. But again, that's a personal design choice you get to make. And in fact, they might be fun up a little higher like this. And then the other strips could be here. Maybe I'll do it that way this time so it's different. But what I want to show you is the trick I developed to get my paper to be under this metal clip, because I can't take that off without damaging the frame. So what I did, let's see, you'll need a penny and a pencil. Okay. So, and you might come up with another way to do this, but I'll share with you a strategy that worked for me to make it pretty neat. It's not going to be exact here, but what I'm going to do is take my top piece and I'm going to fold it in half. I only want to crease just pinch the little top of it. I don't need to crease the whole way. I'm just folding it in half, pinching to find the middle. Okay. And then I'm going to take my penny, and in fact, I'll do it on the back side because I don't want my pencil lines to show after I cut it. So I've got that pinch so that I can see the fold line. I'm going to center my penny with that line, and it's just a few millimeters south of the top of that paper. Can you see? It's just a little bit of space, but I've put it in the halfway spot. Okay. And then I'm going to just carefully trace that around as tightly as I can to the penny. There we are. And I'm going to take my paper snips and just go a little bit on the inside of the penny because I don't need it to be too big. So I'll slit here and then go just inside that line to cut out the circle shape. If you didn't want to bother with this, you could just cut a little square out from here. And then you could either piece some paper on that or just not worry about it or put some ribbon there, anything that you like. But what I can do now is wiggle this under. It's pretty tight. The metal part is tight to the frame, but I can wiggle it under here. And let me know if you can sort of see all right on camera what I'm doing. I'm just trying to pull that paper around it's tricky because this is tight. I want the paper to come up to the top.
Lisa says, this is cool.
Oh, I'm glad, Lisa. I'm glad you like it. I puzzled around on how to do it so that it would look as complete as possible. There we go. Now mine isn't quite centered, but again, this is handmade with love, so I'm not worrying too much about precision. I just want it to be as neat as I can. You just kind of keep wiggling. And now see how I've finished off that edge there. You'd have to look closely to see that it was cut and stuffed under there like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So take your time. I've done this a few times, so to practice. So take your time. But if you just be gentle with the paper, because it is, paper can be fragile and you don't want to tear it. Okay, so now I've got that where I want to position it, and I can just secure it with some glue now. And you can put the glue directly onto the wood or onto the paper. Just kind of smooth it out.
So you're saying the paper is both great and terrible?
Great and terrible. Yes, yes, yes.
Terrible.
Tearable. Indeed. Very good. I love words. I'm so glad you love words too. You're a wonderful wordsmith, Julia. There we are. So I like it with the blue at the top. It's fun. Each time it will come out differently depending on the papers that you position. These were inexpensive frames I got at the craft store. So if it's something that you're interested in doing more of, they're readily available in the market. And they, I love to alter objects. Something I found today at a store is this little tin. And this would be fun. It fits cards in there. The card sizes fit very nicely. So we might see something like this in the future too. If you enjoy doing these kind of alterable projects, in addition to our cards, give me and Julia that feedback, because anything, if it's got paper, it can be with other things too. And it's fun too. I really enjoy making alterable projects, especially when it's something you can find from the recycling or, you know, to repurpose an object that you may already have at home. Now we've got this pretty green pattern. And they should be cut pretty close to the right size. You might have a little bit of the wood on each side. I tried my best to measure it out so they would be neat. Oh, I forgot I was going to put these guys there. Maybe I'll put them here for fun. But I think I'd better keep it the solids, because I want these friends to really pop off. I'm thinking, yeah, let's see if I can pull the screen off, or I didn't give enough time. Yep. If you work quickly, some adhesives will give you a second chance. I'm going to put this up here. Thanks for following along with my process tonight. That's always a fun thing with artists, to learn the thinking process behind designing, right? And there's no right or wrong. You can just experiment. These are some of my favorite colors. This Just Jade is a beautiful green color. And let me remember what the purple is called. Fresh Freesia. That's a lovely color. Okay, so here's my final one. And then we're going to go ahead and embellish. There. So, you know, if you've been coming to our classes for a while, you know that I love to fussy cut. And that means that you take paper. You can do this with fabrics too, of course, for those of you who are quilters or fabric artists. But we take can be from designer series paper or wallpaper or old Christmas cards or, oh golly, magazines, anything. And you can take and cut out the objects. And it's called fussy cutting because we're going close to the shape of the object rather than like a circle or a square cut. And I find a good tip for this is to have my left hand move the paper and my right hand is cutting. And the scissors are staying pointing away from me pretty consistently. I'm letting my left hand move the paper. And so the scissors stay pretty stationary. Now, when I cut something like this, I like to leave just a little space around it. So you'll see I'm leaving just a tiny bit of fresh freesia around the bear. Other friends of mine like to go right close to the image so that there isn't any border. And so you can decide how you would like yours to be. So there's a fun bear. Now I have two sets here, so I don't want to confuse you, but I'm going to just cut a couple on camera to show you that those tips for fussy cutting. And then what we'll do is decide what pieces we want to add to our frame and what pieces we might want to save for our card. So I think these guys are, of course, wintertime friends, but they're not just Christmas or Hanukkah friends. They definitely can be Valentine's or birthdays in the new year, or thank you cards for our from the gift giving season. It's nice to send thank yous, and these would be lovely for the upstate New York winter thank you notes. Now, it may help for you before you decide the animals, how you're going to position them on here. It might help you to decide first about your card. So in the envelope, there should be, let's see here, 2 pieces of 2 rectangles like this, because I couldn't decide. I didn't want to make the choice for you on what piece you wanted to use for your card. So you're going to pick one of those, and I'll do the opposite of what my sample was so that you can see another variation. And let me move this so you can see more clearly. I want to share with you the paper conservation tip that I used for this card. You'll see it has a mat of blue all the way around, and then a circle that's blue that's out in front. And that's actually all from the same rectangle piece of paper, because this would be, we're going to cover it up. We're going to put this paper right on top. And so the frame will still show, and nobody will know that we punched out a circle. But I didn't just punch out the circle for this friend. I also punched out this little circle so that the polar bear could juggle if you wanted him to juggle. And you can design this however you like, but just to show you the tip, what I did was I took my rectangle, and I have 2 sizes of circle punches. I'm going to start with my smaller punch first and punch from the center. And that will work for a layer on our card. And then the larger punch now, I'm just going to center around that hole so that I have this thin circle that could be used. You could add it as a layer to your card here if you like, or in my design case, I made it so that that polar bear would have a way to juggle those balls. Okay. So we're skipping around just a little bit, but this will help us know so that we know what creature we're putting on our card and what creatures we have left to put in our on our frame. So your blue, balmy blue card is already scored. And this is paper that came from a kit. So it's not blue on both sides. It's actually white on the inside, which works very nicely for writing a message. And it has kind of a linen look to it. The texture of the paper looks a little bit like linen fabric. I really like that. So we're going to assemble this. And you know that I like dimensionals. So what I'm going to do is first secure the paper, designer series paper, to the blue. But I don't want glue to be in the center part. I just want it to be, around here. Okay. Because I did have a little scooch out, but I don't want my glue to be behind here because I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. Okay. Okay. So this layer now will be popped up, and no one will know that we used our punches to get that circle from there. And that's a great way to conserve your paper. And it's nice too, because then the color you're sure is a match. Your focal point here is going to match that frame. Okay, now let's see, there should be a little blue flag in here too. It's not a flag yet, is it? It's just a strip of paper. If I want to make it a banner, depending on if I want a stamp here or, let's see, I have the little stamp that says hello there. Let's go ahead and do a little more ink tonight. We have hello there. It's hiding though. Let's see if I can find it.
So this particular kit does not have the dimensionals in it. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. So if you have some from another month, that would work out well, or you can put them flat. Some people, if they don't have dimensionals and they want something to pop out, you can take a piece of cardstock, a scrap piece of paper, and let me just show you. I'll do it with the circle here. You can cut a few layers of paper like this, and you can glue them together. And if you do that multiple times, or if you fold it maybe and then glue it, you can make a dimensional if you want. For example, that penguin to pop up and you don't have a dimensional, one of the foam dimensionals, you can kind of create a little lift with some layers of paper.
Right.
Okay.
The other thing is if people go back on YouTube or so forth, they can find an older one. And I have many of those kits are still
Yes,
in the
Julia
library.
has. Yes, and so that's a great reminder that you can take time, especially on these snowy, cold, snowy, dark nights. Go through the YouTube. This is the third year almost. This is end of 2023. So I think we started in October of 2020.
Yes, we did. Yep.
Yeah, so there are many, many episodes of Stamping with Julia and Missy. And like Julia said, she has several of the kits that are left. And if she doesn't, you could still check in with me. And I may not have the exact parts, but I could help you find supplies that would work for that. So yeah. I'm just going to look one more moment for the hello there, because it would be fun to add a little more ink. And I found it here in this bin. So I'm going to take this isn't an exact match of blue, but I think it'll still be okay. It's a nice solid color. I'm going to add hello there to the strip of blue paper, just so that way you'll have another variation compared to the one I designed at the first time. And then we can make it sort of a flag on this end. I can, let's see. This goes behind like that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I don't think I'll flag it. I think I'll just leave it straight.
You could even tilt it a little.
Yeah.
And let the
little
fox peek out from under. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yes, indeed. So he doesn't get hidden. That's a great idea. Or lift it up higher. Very good. And then we can put a friend on here. I love the penguin guy. I think I'll probably keep him because I have another sort of dancing penguin. Here he is that we can put on our frame. So let's see, or we could swap it out here and then he's got his hat. That's kind of clever, isn't it? Okay. That way he'll be different from my original sample. So what we'll do now is secure these with some glue. I'm glad you noticed that friendly fox there. We didn't want to hide him completely. So we'll layer it like this. And again, if you want to, you can make a little pennant with the edges of the paper instead of keeping it straight. We'll take some more dimensionals. And I've got this circle that matches the mat. Pop that guy up there. And then we'll add this friendly penguin. Now, the last thing you'll notice that we can add here are some of the embellishments. And you should have a strip of embellishments that have multiple colors. I'll pull mine out in just a moment. There's my hello there. And here they are. These look like rainbow sherbet colors to me. I love them. And so we can add a few. I had them here on my original like this in a trio. But on this one, I think I'll kind of scatter them around the card like this. 1, 2, and then one over here. 1, 2, 3. So my eye moves around in the triangle shape with just that little bit of sparkle to add some texture. Now you might decide to put your polar bear on here or your fox or any of the creatures that you like. But those are some pieces of how you can combine your elements for your card. And now we'll go back to our frame. So as I was working on him juggling, I didn't have time. I didn't have the window sheets supply in time for me to put it in your kits, but I wanted to show you. This is it's called a window sheet. Let's see if and it comes in 12 by 12 inches. It's a thick plastic, but not too thick that you can still punch it. It's not so thick. You could also use, sometimes I think the plastic that they use in like pasta boxes is maybe too thin, but some packaging like a clamshell for strawberries or something like that, might have the right thickness of plastic so that you could make a little holder for your bear where I can put the balls on here and they'll look more like they're really being juggled. Whereas on this one, I had the blue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wonder if you could use, if you cut it carefully, the rings on the little plastic containers that hold a 6-pack.
Yes, that like hold the soda together or something.
Exactly. I buy
That
my
would work,
root beer
that would work well, or some kind of fruit and vegetable packaging or other kinds of food packaging would be a fun way to do that. And you don't have to have a punch, you could just carefully do your cutting. So I'm going to use him with this one, just so again, we'll see some differences. But I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. And I want it to look, and the plastic doesn't always like glue as much as paper does. So you have to be patient as it has a chance to dry. But now I can put these little sparklies on here and it might kind of look a little more authentic, like he's really juggling them because the clear background will be behind them. Try that. There we are. Great. So then I can adhere that to the clip and I'm going to use dimensionals. And then you might, if you decide to put an animal up on your clip, you may decide to make him stronger by putting another piece of paper behind him so he's thicker. I'm not going to do that tonight just for time, but I did do that on my original one because it will be handled a little bit more, this little guy here. And you don't want him to get too bent out of shape, right? There, can you see it better with the gray behind it? Okay. Now I can decide where I want all these other little friends to go. Let's see who I have. I have a penguin and a fox. And I thought I had another polar bear. Let's see if we can find him. Yes, this guy that's sitting down. So I'm going to cut him out. And he can be down at the bottom. I don't know what shall we call the polar bear? What would his name be? Peter the polar bear. I often like to alliterative names, right? Or Snowball is kind of a fun name for a polar bear. Jan Brett is one of my favorite children's authors and illustrators. And I recently came across a book that has polar bears in it. I should have brought that up to show you tonight, but Julia probably has it at the library. So before I glue these friends down, I'm going to put the card here to see if I can make them fit where they won't get too much covered up. But again, if I'm putting a photograph here, favorite people in my life, or a beautiful scene, you know, you might decide not to put the characters here if you don't want them to be covered up, or just be strategic about how you place them. He also could be up, you know, tucked up here and he'd be peeking out with his friends. You could put them up here. However you like. Let's see, it may work. Oh, I missed the comment. Someone made it a comment, but I missed it. Was that you, Julia?
Yeah, I'm just chatting with Terry, who just got here.
Oh, okay, great. Welcome. Hi, Terry. All right, so now I can go ahead and glue these friends down. You could pop them up if you like. I'm going to use my adhesive to make them flat, but that's up to you. And I can see this being a fun gift for someone if you have a favorite photo to give to them, or children's artwork, or maybe some recipes that you're sharing. You can clip them. And there's our little
So
box.
is the hello there piece of paper just held on with the clip, so you could take that out and, yeah, let me see what.
Yes, this card that we made is just attached with the clip. So you don't have to put it there. I think it's great to have this for a recipe or a photo. It can hold a calendar, or maybe just be a reminder paper. You can have it on your counter and, you know, call mom on there for the next day, whatever the messages are. Lots of ways to use a piece like this, but I do think it would it'd be a fun way to give a gift too. If you have something special that you're sharing with someone, it'd be a great way to gift it to them. So, but you do have the envelope for this card. So this could be mailed. This doesn't have to be included with the gift if you didn't want to. And I love the envelope that has the blue polka dots on it. Okay, so there's our cards, and I'll bring back in the original folding ones. Get this out of the way for a moment. There we are. So remember, we had different ways that we opened the fold was the same, but the way we put the pieces inside was different to kind of make that triptych screen effect. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to help you answer them. Also, another plea for request. I love when we hear that people have something special they'd like to learn. It may be you've seen something on Pinterest, or you've received a card that you're thinking, oh, I want to learn that fun fold. I really enjoy being able to honor a request, and it helps me learn new things too. I wish everyone a very happy holiday season, and hopefully you stay warm and safe. Maybe snow will come. It didn't stay very long today, but
yeah. Can you open the You're in My Thoughts one? So
sure.
I can,
Yep.
One of those. So like
Yep. I'll open both so you can compare the different versions.
Oh, that's
okay?
a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the one that my friend Robin made, I love as well. This has the panel in the middle here, and these two kind of match up. And then when it's closed, that's
the amazing part. I just think
it is really cool. And it works with different scenes better than others. And like I said, you're going to have one of, I think, 4 different scenes that I showcased for the class today in your kits. So yours, may look different from the others, but it's kind of a magic card. Oh yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to Julia. When the recording is on the Facebook, that's an easy place for me to respond to comments. If you're viewing it on Facebook, either live tonight or in replay, that's a great place. But even if you, I don't always see the YouTube comments, but if you reach out to me or to Julia, we can answer any questions that you have.
Right. And you can find my email is on the website, the Baldwinsville Library website. And you can always leave a message on the Facebook page as well. So, hi, this is Julia.
There's Julia. Great. Well, Julia, thanks again for partnering. I look forward to our time together each month. I appreciate your support, and all the friends that have been along with us on the journey, and the new friends that keep finding us. So share this with your friends and neighbors and fellow crafting enthusiasts. It's been fun on our Fridays at the library. We met last Friday in person, and it's been fun to hear that more and more people are finding out about our Zoom session as well as the in-person class. So we'll be meeting in January. It's the second Friday morning, and generally the second Thursday evening. Sometimes they line up in the same week, but not in December. So thank you all very much, and I wish you very happy holidays and wonderful times with your family and friends.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas, and have a great New Year.
Thank you, Christine. Hope to see you soon. Thank you,
friends. You won't see me now till April.
Okay, you're in the sunny South, right? So stay warm.
Yes, we are.
You can actually still join. You can still join from there.
Yeah, I could, just to watch and see what you guys are doing.
For sure.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks,
well,
Christine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.